I'm sure this scene looks all too familiar for any of our viewers who have remodeled. Yellow caution tape, also construction barricades up here. And while luckily this county building has not been targeted yet, this scene seems to be a welcome sign for thieves here in St. Clair County. Hey, for 6:30 in the morning, we usually do not have this much action on News 4 this morning. So there are about 8 horses out here stretching their legs because, again, Fairmont Park opens later today. Very exciting out here.
Chief Lori tells us in just the last 2 years, East St. Louis has added 13 officers. It's still unclear how many of these troopers will be assigned to that town. But for any of you who live, work, visit, or even drive through East St. Louis, you can bet you're going to see an influx of men and women in uniform. But again, when that exactly happens is something that I will continue to follow for all of you.
Claire and Andre, you two both know how proud I am to be from Illinois, but whenever I meet people who did not grow up here, they ultimately make a joke about how this state has a history of scandal, corruption, and even a couple of our governors being sent to prison. Well, those are some of the reasons that I am dedicated to watching what your elected officials are doing, especially when it involves your tax dollars. Just about 20 minutes ago, I spoke with the mayor of Caseyville, and he tells me sometime today, Jose Alvarez and his lawyer will come here to the police department. That is when he will turn in his car, his radio, all equipment. And the mayor also tells me that as of right now, Alvarez is not this town's police chief, but get this, he will still collect the paychecks for his $70,000 a year job. Quinn says that he is dedicated to moving this state forward, but his challenger Bruce Rauner is pretty okay with keeping the attention on these allegations. I did reach out to my sources with his campaign. They sent me a statement on this saying, quote, "This marks a new low even by Quinn Blagojevich standards." As you can imagine, it's going to be a very interesting few months as we get closer to that November election. My phone yesterday was about as tired as the horses are going to be later today after they run on the track here at Fairmont Park. That's because I made over 20 calls on this to just put this into some perspective. And one state representative tells me if slot machines do not come to this racetrack, then 1,400 jobs will be lost.
As you can imagine, many people living in East St. Louis are wondering, when is this going to happen? So I'm holding the man in charge accountable, and he says it's going to happen sometime by the end of the year.
Just 24 hours ago, I was standing right here telling you about how one of Governor Quinn's initiatives was being investigated in Cook County, but now the feds are getting involved, and they're also bringing in Judy Bar Topinka, a longtime political name here in Illinois. We are just finding out the federal prosecutors have asked the comptroller for information pertaining to Quinn's neighborhood recovery program in Chicago. Her spokesperson would not elaborate on this, only saying that her office was first contacted in March. A spokesperson for Governor Quinn says federal officials have not contacted his office, but the governor fully supports this investigation. So for the people here in Illinois, this marks the 3rd Illinois governor in a row to be federally investigated. I'm sure many of you remember that Governor Quinn's predecessor, Rod Blagojevich, is currently in federal prison. His predecessor, George Ryan, was just recently released. This is a story that I will continue following for all of you. Reporting live in St. Clair County, Laura Hettiger, News 4.